1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Yo, so this is BBoytech, and we're gonna get into some stuff right now, man. For those that have been checking out the show, I haven't done one of these in a little bit because I've been working on a little special project, but we're gonna get off into some stuff with my man X144. He's an artist, he's a producer, he's an audio engineer, he's a filmmaker, and he's dope. So before we go on, I want you to go ahead and press like, subscribe, hit the notification joint, and share this. Let's get down to some talk, some business, and let's nerd out a little bit with my man X144 right about now.
Yo, that beat's vicious, bro. That the beat people joint, that shit that's unruly.
I was putting some stuff together because I got some stuff that I have to do. It's like a interview type of thing. So I'm like, okay, let me make some new joints because I got to do like a live beat set. So I'm playing around with some stuff, and that was one of the joints I'm playing with, man.
That shit is fucking dope, bro. And you using a lot of modular synths on your stuff now, right?
Oh yeah, tons of modular stuff, man.
So make that shit fly, bro. Because like I think it's just like you and Ski Beats. Y'all the only two doing that shit.
Yeah, Ski Beats.
That scene at least.
It's a little movement kind of brewing. And actually, one of the things we're gonna be doing here soon is I just got a bunch of submissions, including some stuff from Ski Beats, so we could do a compilation. So this compilation about to drop here soon. And I'm excited about it. That's one of the things that I'm working on. And so, yeah, man, that's what's up. That's what's up. You know what's funny is that okay, hold on. In the comments, I got my man. Why not? What's up? Why not? That's fam.
Why not?
No doubt. So yeah, I was been getting into modular for a minute, man. And I remember I was doing some stuff for Ski Beats. Hit me up. We start talking. Then he started doing some stuff, and my man Shiro been doing some stuff for a while. So it's just kind of turned into a thing.
Right.
So yeah, man, that's what's up. But yo, about you though.
Yeah, man. All right, let's go.
Have you on,
let's
man.
Get it.
Have you on?
Man. Yeah, man. Thank you for having me, bro. It's been a long time coming, man. We've been talking about doing this for a minute, so I'm glad to have you on. Yeah. I'm glad you back on, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I know you making moves and whatnot. That's
I'm trying to do some things, man. Just kind of for the culture. That's it. Beat people for the culture.
Yeah. Yo, beat people. The brand. Yeah. First, let me just give you a shout out real quick. Shout out to the branding on that, because that shit's fire.
I appreciate it.
That shit. If that shit don't take off, I'm burning the internet down. That shit is fucking. I can't wait to get a hoodie and shit, man. I'm about to get some clothing, man. That shit is dope.
Yeah, actually, I'm trying to do some hoodies again this fall. I had some last fall. They sold out, so I'm trying to get some more done this fall, and then we'll rock from there, man. But I appreciate that, man. It's I remember telling me and my sister were talking, and I was like, yeah, about to launch this beat people thing. And this was, a few years back, but it was still kind of infancy stages of Black Lives Matter, and still very crazy out here in these streets, like it's been all our lives. But now they filming it on phones and stuff, so now you see it. And my sister was like, yo, you sure you want to name your shit Beat People? And I'm like,
oh shit, I didn't even think about that, bro.
And I was like,
man. I got a pure mind, man. You know what I'm saying?
I ain't thinking like that. It kind of gave birth to the little slogan that I say sometimes: we don't beat people, we are beat people. So,
there you go.
It gives that like that. So yeah, I appreciate that.
You know what actually would be fly? I don't mean to tell you how to run your shit, but just on the subliminal, right? What if you had, and you heard it here first, what if you had beat people like, hold on, let me so what if you had beat people right here, right on the left side, right, but printed black on black as we are.
Yeah, that's dope.
But beat people is the one that you see immediately, and then people have to kind of like lean in, like, oh yeah,
lean in for the tone on tone. Yeah. That's dope. Well, I'm gonna have to get that done. I'm gonna have to send you one for free.
I'll take it, bro. This shit is fire, man. Yo, I wouldn't even think about it. Yo, watch this shit take off with like MMA people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's right.
Be people. Just like, no, that's not the message, fam. But thank you for supporting.
Like, what we doing.
Yeah, that's not what we're doing. But thanks for the support. You know what I mean?
That's what up, David Ramirez? I see you. Yeah, man.
David Ramirez, what up, man?
Tell us for those that getting to know X144, a little bit about your background, and then I want to get into, you know, the name, the meaning of the name. So how'd you kind of get started doing what you do?
So I'm originally from Staten Island, New York. And I moved down to Orlando, Florida just shortly after 36 Chambers dropped. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And actually, I think I moved. I feel like I moved down like right before the album dropped. I think it was like when Protect Your Neck was like everywhere. It was all in the whiz or whatnot. And then I moved down to Orlando, Florida, and I remember saying to my peers like, "Yo, I'm gonna start a rap crew down there, blah blah blah. We're gonna boom boom boom, right?" I'm just like 13, 14 years old or whatnot. Yeah. And we started just rapping in lunchrooms. You know what I'm saying? Just beating on the table or whatnot.
Yeah, classic.
And, the classic stuff. Just the way I think most kids come up rap. Actually, I don't really know what kids do now to rap. So, but
true, right? It could be totally different.
Yeah, because I mean, based on what I'm seeing, half of them can't rap. So I don't know if they do it. They probably just skip that, and then like that's where you learn how to rap. That's when you realize that you suck at first.
Refuse to say raps or refuse to freestyle or refuse to do any of that stuff. Like, no, I don't do that. Cut it off. You're like, wow.
Yeah, that's crazy. Because I think it's because they didn't have that practice. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They probably just like, yo, I'm gonna be a personality. I'm gonna be a celebrity, and then like I'm not a craftsman like that. And that, I mean, there's room for that, I guess. You know what I'm saying? It's just not. It's just not what we're used to or whatnot now, right?
Yeah, it's not what we're used to. Unfortunately, it gets the moniker that slides it into the corridors of the culture when it's kind of like pedestrian. I hate to say that. You know what I mean?
No, they rapping like civilians. Let's keep it 100. You know what I'm saying? Like, so just cutting my teeth on that, you know, getting battles, getting embarrassed, getting humiliated. And then finding my own kind, you know what I'm saying? And then from there, we started to, you know, cut demos in the studio. I started making beats on my man's SP1200. I remember I was sampling like everything off the Shaft soundtrack. And I only had the tape. I just brought the tape over, like, yo, I'm about to, and I made my shit. I didn't know what I was doing on the SP. And I used to go to a store called Ace Music, and they used to have the MPC 60 there. So I would go up in there and just like make beats on that, and not knowing what I was doing. And then actually my very first beat I made over the phone with a DJ that we were down with that was in our crew that made beats, and he was dope. But the way he would make beats is that he just had one sampler on his mixer, and he had just a dual tape deck, and then he would just dub and layer live for like several minutes, just keep re-triggering the sample.
Dope.
Right? But here's the thing, that shit stored nothing. So if after he was done, that was it. So by the time
you got it in or you didn't.
Yeah, so he would take one tape. He'd like, all right, I dubbed this, I'm gonna swap this over, and then I'm gonna take another one. So that'll be the playback while it's recording both signals at once. Right? So by the time you got the beat, it was like really dusty, or the high end was rolled off because the tape was worn. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I made this beat with him over the phone. I was like, yo, this is what the drum sound I was banging on my wall. I remember I was like in my bedroom. I was like, this is the bass line. Do this. Yeah, that's it right there. And then we took it to the studio and we remade it in the studio because it wasn't really made anywhere. We showed it to the engineer, and the engineer had to remake it. This is like us as kids not knowing what we were doing. And then we went and we cut that song, blah blah blah. But yeah, you know, I formed a crew called NITE. It's pretty legendary to the Orlando hip hop scene, and we're the crew that coined the phrase Ozone. That's where it comes from. It comes from me and my squad. We had a single called Ozone, and then we're the first ones to throw the first hip hop showcase by artists for artists. Everything before that was a talent show. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So since then, you know what I'm saying? Like you see Ozone at the top of the Orlando Arena. There's been Ozone barbershops, Ozone record store, Ozone gym. Like it's just kind of embedded in the culture now. And you know, with like the birth of like Grind Time and then like King of the Dot and all these rap battle leagues, all these rappers from Orlando, because that, you know, the rap battle league came from Orlando.
Right.
Shout out to Direct and Mad Ills and all them cats that helped pioneer that shit. But yeah, they basically you know, would yell out the moniker like we from, you know, repping the Ozone, blah 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 blah. So like that's when it became like more of a notable like global thing if you didn't like just come to the town and fuck with us, right? So from there, you know, indie artists, starving artists for like many years, you know what I'm saying, rocking the stage, doing tours. I eventually I started you know, I started to, you know, build a name out in the Southeast and a little bit on the West Coast with some homies, but in the Southeast started doing shows, and heads would cop my record, and they would, you know, they would hit me up like, yo, who mixed your record, who produced your shit? And I was just like, I did.
That was me.
That was me. Yeah. And you know, they were talking about a record I put out like shit in 2002 actually.
Wow.
I think it's 2002. And it was like already like 2005, and I was still selling that shit. And I recorded that joint on a Roland VS 1680.
Okay.
And mixed and mastered it. I mixed it on there, but mastered it on PC at the time. And that's when heads started asking me like, can you do the same thing for us? Because we're not really happy with our engineering situation, because they're cats that don't understand the genre. They're like, you know, skilled engineers, but like in rock. And
yo, that's always been, I feel like that's a common thread with a lot of us in hip hop. And because still. Because I've even been in situations, man. I've even been in situations where I've been in the studio, state of the art place with my joints, and the people that believed in me is in there. Everything is, this is cold, it's gonna be, you know what I mean? We knew that things are a heater. This is a heater. You get in there with somebody that don't understand the music, and this cat want to replace things, and he's spacing things out oddly, and you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like it taking away all the glue, and then everything just sounds like it's only low end, and
bruh, taking away the glue. It's so, you read my mind when you started saying spacing things out in a weird way. I was just like, oh, he's taking away the glue.
Yeah,
you just said it, bro. Because that's the shit, man. Because there's certain things that are not supposed to be that are sort of tethered together in hip hop production. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I would say I would say just in black music, but just there's things you just don't disconnect. They're paired, right? Like, you know, your drums and your bass. You know what I'm saying? Not just your kick and your bass. Yes, there's science so that they could coexist. That's the stuff you got to focus on, so that the drums and bass can, you know, live in harmony, so to speak. But there are certain things in spacing, and like, I mean, if you do a lot of vocal, I'm a vocal producer also, right? So like when you're producing vocals and then you're in the final, you know, the mixing stage, you can't separate certain things because you lose the harmony. You need the resonance. You'll
actually start to. I've done stuff where I've seen stuff. You'd be like, yo, if those joints are not leveled out properly, and if you could tell when the mix is going awry, when you know that the harmonies of the, say, background vocals or the hook or something, when they start to sound a little weird and a little off, because you can have minor notes and different keys and stuff you're doing in there, and if they're not properly blended and somebody does something weird with the mix, it'll sound like, yo, this hook is all out of key and weird. You know what I mean? Like it don't sound good. You know what I mean? So you got
it's a weird thing. Like it's also like if when you're mixing vocals, if you can hear the individual layers of the harmony, it's no longer a harmony.
It's
supposed to be one voice. You know what I'm saying? Like
that's right.
It's like an orchestra. If you hear the strings doing a whole string line, the whole orchestra doing a string line, like you don't want to hear just the violin and then just the viola and then just the cello. Maybe stylistically, you have an extra cello player coming in doing some wicked shit that you're doing on the pan, but like you want to actually hear it as one voice. That's why it's like that's why you get VSTs. It's just the orchestra. You know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly.
No, it's interesting, man. So like I started doing that for Psyche Origami out of Atlanta, and then other crews started hitting me up, and I just started doing stuff for even more local crews in Orlando. It was mostly just me. Whatever I produce, I do, and then I started doing it for Solillaquists Sound. I mixed their majority of their discography. As well as directing a lot of their music videos. That's where I made my directorial debut. But I mixed two albums for Psyche Origami that came out really strong. And then I was there's an artist by the name of Qusai. He's based out in the Middle East. He's the biggest hip hop artist in the Middle East. Shout out to Q. He's also the host of Arabs Got Talent. So he's like a mega celebrity out there. But he was in Orlando, and he would come and record at my spot, and I'd mix his records. You know what I'm saying? And he'd have me feature on a song, rap, spit on it, blah blah blah. But then like he moved back to Saudi Arabia, and then he started to blow the fuck up. And I'm talking about like getting nowhere in Orlando. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect to him. It's just that nobody got anywhere in Orlando.
It's a different thing.
Yeah. So he went out there and like 2 years.
Wow.
He's a star. He's a star, bro. So I mix his biggest records out there or whatnot. And shout out to him. I think he told me that he just told me recently that we're 5 times platinum. And out there, the standards are different, but like we 5 times platinum.
Platinum. Whatever the standards are.
Yeah. So yeah, man. So then he started a label.
Air horn.
Yeah, no, right. He started a label. It was going to be the first hip hop label to come out of the Middle East, and it was going to be located in Cairo, Egypt, because Egypt is the epicenter for all entertainment, right? So like in the Middle East, like everyone knows all the Egyptian artists, most of the Egyptian actors. Programs and all that shit, right? All the music artists and stuff like that, they're legendary across the region. But in Egypt, they don't know everybody else's stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like you got to come out of there to really blow up in the region. So we wanted it to do that with hip hop. So he asked me to come out, and I designed the studio, I designed the room, handpicked the gear, and I was gonna be chief engineer and producer. Like I was basically about. Everybody's been using this phrase for me lately, but I was basically about to be the Dre of the Middle East. You know what I'm saying? and yeah, I did. Ever since I started the Twitch thing, that's like the phrase everyone's using. Thank you, y'all. Massive compliment. But yeah, I was about to like help shape the sound of the Middle East on an official capacity, and then the revolution happened. You know what I'm saying? So I was there for that, I was there for that. And if you guys, if you see me in the chat, I'm Beats Rhymes Films. If you guys go to my channel, you'll see in my playlist of like directed by X144, you'll see super old, back to like 2011. There's a documentary, a mini doc that I did called Export to Egypt. It's about my experience during that time.
Wow, we'll have to check that out. Wow.
Yeah, really. It's if it's not up, let me know, because I might have accidentally took it down while I was taking down some old stuff. But it's basically, it was a hell of an experience, life-changing experience. After that, everything kind of like folded and crumbled because the country was in disarray for years. It's now stabilized, but I went back to the States with nothing. And my man Davinci from Solillaquists Sound ends up getting a job working for Lauryn Hill. And he was like, yo, man, one day he hit me up. You know, we were staying in touch during that shit. He was doing shows with her, touring with her. And hit him up, or he hit me up. He was just like, hey, can you get my hard drive from my place and ship it to me? I was like, yeah, I got you. And so he hits me up a few hours later. It's like, yo, did you ship my hard drive yet? I was like, no, I'm about to head out the door right now. I was like, cutting into like the last hour. I was like, oh shit. Shout out to you, bitch. It was like, don't bother. I was like, why? You're just like, do you want to come up here and help? I was like, what?
And what was he doing for Lauryn Hill at that point?
Say what?
What was he? He was working for Lauryn Hill. What was he doing for Lauryn Hill at that point?
He was on his way to being like the music director at the time. Okay. He ended up being like music director with Doug Wimbish. Those were the two guys that were kind of running the band or whatnot. They're working together very closely. Like Doug is definitely the senior, but Davinci was kind of orchestrating like all the stuff because he was doing playback and live MPC, like live controller stuff, right? And then obviously because of how fast Davinci works, he just kind of had his shit all together, right? Davinci's a really put together dude, and he ended up being a part of the studio team. You know what I'm saying? So doing writing beats and all that stuff with, you know, by direction of Miss Hill. So he was just like, they hit him up and they were just like, hey, do you need help? Like, I was like, he was like, sure, yeah. Like, he was like, you know somebody, or they wanted to bring somebody. He was like, I actually got somebody. Yeah. And he hit me up, and he literally was just like, yo, we want you to fly out in like a couple hours as a flight that they got ready for you. I was like, what is this, bro? I was like, can you fly me out tomorrow? Because I need to pack. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, give me a minute.
I was so afraid to ask for that. I was just like, I was ready to go. But I was like, you know what? Because I got to bring hard drives with me, not his, but mine now. Yeah. I got to bring sounds. I got to bring all kinds of shit. I got to start like transferring stuff that wasn't transferred yet, and bring in like all of my gear. So I packed it up. Next day I went out, and that evening I met her for the first time. And I was like just that one day. It was the one day. That was the one day I was just like, don't stare. You know what I'm saying? Because like I've been looking at her my whole life, bro. You know what I'm saying? Of course, I was just like, yo, it's her. I was like, you're really here. This is trippy. And when she entered the room, it's like, posture up. Time to get to work. Boom, 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 boom.
She's just like that, man, because I've seen Lauryn Hill so many times in concert from times when she was with Fugees. I seen her back in the day there was a dope concert. It was like hip hop band. So it was the Fugees, Goody Mob with a live band, and the Roots. And there was a tour. And I saw them twice because I kind of snuck off in the back and stayed there till the next show started. But but you know what I'm saying? And then obviously I've seen her several times with the Fugees, and then I saw her in the years when she started, you know, with the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. So I saw like her big production shows where, you know, damn, they had an orchestra and a DJ with a hype man, like, and they was on separate sides of the stage. So there was a point when she did something I'll never forget. She was like, yo, the DJ was like, yo, y'all can't do what I'm doing. And he's talking to the band. The band's like, you could never do what we doing. So they battled the DJ versus the band. And so it was like a set clash. And the hype man was with the DJ, and Lauryn was with the band, and you know they played, you know, Stevie Wonder joints. I mean, full band orchestra. You know what I mean? It was crazy at the Chicago Theater, and I saw her, you know, more recently touring with Nas. And I can tell by the way she is on stage, obviously getting back to what you said about when she comes in the room, everybody's like at attention, ready to do their thing. And I could tell by the way she was on stage, the way she's directing folks and straight, you know what I mean? Like, that's not what we're doing. We're doing this and change on a dime and tell it. She's literally directing folks while she's performing. And then on top of that, she was performing some of her classics with different music at a higher tempo. Still directing everybody what to do. You know what I'm saying? It was crazy.
Yeah, she's about energy live, man. I would say that like when I met her, I had never really met anybody who kind of had share the same aesthetic as me when it comes to performing. Like when I would rock, like I've taken some of my songs that were slower and I redid them faster. With like new music, right? Because I'm all about that energy. I love having that energy. When I'm spitting on stage, I want to be like, you know what I'm saying? I just want to go. You know what I mean? That's it. And then like the way she catalogs samples is very similar to me, but kind of next level, and I'll tell you about that. But like, yeah, she's about her business, man, and the reinventions of her songs have gone through so many iterations. They went through like at least 4 iterations of the entire Miseducation record. I've seen it reincarnated like 4 or 5 times.
I can imagine.
And some of the stuff that they were doing, and some of it, like, bro, she was like, man, musically, it's some of the most adventurous shit I've ever fucking heard, right? And that's her thing. Like she's all about. She would say this in the studio a lot. She would say, like, you know, I'm in this, like, the reason why I got into music, and it's the same thing for me. That's what I'm saying. Like, me and her just kind of creatively, I felt like she was like kindred spirit.
Yeah.
She was like, it's the adventure. She was like, that's why, like, when they, like, back in the day, like during the time of the Fugees, like, she just felt like what they were doing was mega adventurous. She thought, like, you know, Clef was super adventurous musically, and like that's what made it interesting for her, because she's definitely above average intelligence. I say genius level, to be perfectly honest, in terms of just intellect, right? Yeah. She's a highly educated woman. And like, I would say that as gifted as she is musically, it probably really undersells her ability and potential as an intellectual. You know what I'm saying? And
you know, too, though, that, you know, part of that probably comes from the fact that hip hop has been dumbed down so much that we, like, the stereotype is that it's not expected to be intelligent, and the people that do it aren't expected to be intelligent. You know what I mean? Right. And then there's a certain level of genius in being able to make your thought process and your intelligence palatable to the masses. Right. You know what I mean? Because there's different levels to all of that. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah. And she could tell. I feel like she did it, man. She did it masterfully. Like, you heard a lot of it in the way she put her bars together. You know what I'm saying? Word. And then, like, you really got to experience. You got to, like, you got to walk through the door and actually sit in a room with her. In Miseducation, you got actually an entry into her world, and like, and just how elegant she was, you know, from a very intelligent place. And then, like, I feel like it elevated even more for the Unplugged record. Like,
not a doubt.
All those records were fucking over the, like, all the concepts, the lyrics, all that stuff, like, that shit was over. I think that was over most people's heads.
It was
stuff she was talking about. You know what I'm saying?
It's relevant today. I Get Out. Like that you did. I Get Out. You can play that today. It's all about that. That, like, it's so relevant even still today, and it's just soulful.
Yep.
Yeah. No doubt.
So, you know, I originally was out there to help to do sound design for drums.
Okay.
That was my shit. So they wanted, like, you know, a unique original sounds for her, for Davinci to play live, right? Okay. So I go up there and I just program a bunch of drums, and that's actually how I sound design my drums. So I started layering, blah, blah, blah. And then, like, we sent over, like, a bunch of breaks that I made, and she was like, oh shit, yeah, I like this. And, like, sent it over to management, and they're like, oh yeah, that's dope. And then, you know, Davinci ended up getting those kits. And then, like, quickly after that, she found out I was a filmmaker, and then, like, pulled me into the studio. And then, like, it was like 2 weeks, everybody bounced. Everybody had, like, different gigs. And it was just me and her in the studio for 2 weeks. Wow. And that's when me and her got to know each other, and our friendship just grew really fast. We got super close, mega fast in that time. And and it was really great, man. It was a great experience those 2 weeks, because I think we challenged each other. You know what I'm saying? She challenges everyone.
Of course.
It's in the fiber of her being, right? And in a very constructive way. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. She's a very loving person. Even though she could be very stern and intense, you know what I'm saying? But she handles all of it with care and grace. But with me, I don't think she was, like, really expecting me to, like, challenge her, right? And it wasn't like a mega thing. It was not like the basis of our relationship or whatnot, but that's how it kind of kicked off. And then it just turned into all jokes. Like, I would just say shit. Because everything was so heavy around her on an intellectual level and an emotional level, you know what I'm saying? And I would just, like, I I just turned into just the dude that would say silly shit to make her laugh. I sometimes would say shit, she'd just be laughing at me. I'm like, what'd I say? I didn't mean to,
I didn't mean to say
anything. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, no, that's my sister, man.
That's dope, though. That's real dope.
And you know, I got to see the world with her, and I'm super grateful for that. You know,
what would you say of if you had one takeaway, which I'm sure with Miss Hill, there's many takeaways, but if you had one takeaway that you would drop a jewel on us, what would it be that you learned from her?
Be prepared. If you're not prepared and ready to go, you don't belong in the room.
Word up.
She showed me how unprepared I was. And also I showed myself how prepared I was in different aspects, right? Yeah, there were just certain things that she just like had an expectation of, because she was so used to orchestrating an entire room full of people, so that when it was just me, I had to like constantly prepare for our sessions. So I'd like go back to the compound. She had a different property for us to stay. So I go back. It's like this big ass mansion, and it's just me in there. It was crazy, man. I was just like by myself in this big ass, beautiful house in this beautiful neighborhood in Jersey. And I would just get the sounds together and be like, all right, blah, 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 blah. And I program stuff real quick, just get my chops up. And even then, man, like she was just like she's so used to working with like highly trained musicians. It was just like, oh wow, like I know my place here, you know what I'm saying? I know what I could write, but not as fast as you want me to write it. It was really humbling, right? And like, don't get me wrong, the shit that I would program, it'd be blaze, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
And you know,
but you know what I liken it to? Those kinds of situations are sort of like, yo, you could play ball, you got the talent, you know that court, but it's a different ball game from playing wherever you play, whether it's college or in the neighborhood or whatever. When you get to the NBA, it's a different thing. There's a different, you know what I'm saying? It's not that it's like it's anything less about what the gifts that you got and what you bring to the court, but it's just like that arena and that league is a different a different ball game. So
completely. Yeah. It's so that was the beginning. That was like, I was like, oh shit, this is, and that's all I focused on was like preparation, right? And then once it came to like program, like, as you know, there was a rhythm that then was developed through time, and then I started to it was really cool, man. Like I actually like recorded the entire Miseducation record again for the show. What? With all the new like we all programmed like all the new beats, right? We all made a contribution. It was Beatnik and Kallous, and Davinci and myself. We were the four like in studio producers or whatnot. So we were making all this new stuff, and then like I got to track her on my laptop, like performing all the vocals so that the background singers could rehearse to it like privately until the whole band got together. So I recorded the whole album, bro. We knocked out that whole album in one night. She just telling the kids what to do while she was rapping. It was great. You could hear the kids in the background and all that stuff. That was like, man, I can't believe I'm doing this. And like I said, man, I got to see the world. I met my wife on that tour. You know what I'm saying?
It was a blessed tour.
It was a super blessed tour. My first time going overseas. That first day I met my wife.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
It's crazy. And the night before, it was crazy, man. I had this premonition. I was falling asleep, and I heard like a voice in my head just say, "You're gonna meet your wife on this tour." And I was like, I woke up. I was like,
what's up with that?
I was like, what's good with that, fam? Who's saying that, bro? And then I went back to sleep, and you know, woke up the next day, thought nothing of it, saw a beautiful woman that I thought was amazing, and like she was working. Yeah, she wasn't like a fan or nothing like that. I mean, she is a fan of Miss Hill, but she wasn't even supposed to be there. She was actually there helping a friend who was hired to do the job, and she brought her on as additional help for the gig, setting up the dressing rooms and shit.
Okay.
And
okay.
Sure enough, man, like I saw her and I thought she was in charge. I was like, I want the one in charge. That one. And you know, we talked, we stayed in touch, and then the next time we went on tour again, before the tour ended, I flew to her. Or right when the tour ended, I flew to her instead of going home directly. I went to her and then went home. And it's been a ride, man. It's been a ride. And then after that, I ended up getting into this is long-winded. You guys, I bet you know. Yeah, cool. Yeah, cool. All right. I bet you wasn't expecting this. These are my beginnings.
Then I was 5.
And then, mind you, I'm only 6 years old at this point. Lauryn I was a prodigy. I ended up in the game industry. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And I started to work on video games because it was the one part of audio production I hadn't really done. It was the new challenge, and I was like, I want to get in this industry because I think that this is the future, you know. And I'm an avid gamer, you know what I'm saying. So like I went ahead and went to open house one year. It was like a year or two before I even went to Egypt, and they stayed in touch with me, and I stayed in touch with them, and they were kind of scouting, trying to bolster up the crew in Orlando that worked on the Madden games, right?
Okay.
So then they brought me on, and that the day I signed my contract with EA, she you know, Miss Hill hits me up, was just like, yo, I need you here tomorrow. I was just like,
wow,
I can't. I just signed this contract to do this thing for this game, and she was like, oh, okay, it's all good as long as you eating. That's what's up. Go do your thing. And I've been in the industry ever since. I'm now the dialogue lead at Naughty Dog. So I'm the department head for the dialogue department, which is a sub department of the audio department and whatnot. So I oversee production. What
is it, the dialogue department that produces vocals and produces the what does the dialogue department do? That's what I should ask.
So what we do is we manage the production or we are the production team for all of the dialogue from the actors. Okay. So I'm there at the motion capture stage.
And things.
Yep. So I direct some material or whatnot. My job is really to kind of study the creative director, who's also our vice president of our company, Neil Druckmann. And basically my job is to just pretty much, you know, study the direction, make sure that we're on par with narrative, and that our audio is, you know, stellar, so that because that's a big important part for us. That stuff is that the audio work that's behind any product or whatnot needs to be the invisible part. So like it's having excellent quality is a part of that. So
do you do the and I ask this because I have a couple of people that live very close to me. Like one dude is next door, another dude is across the street, and they are some like they are pretty well known voiceover actors, and so both of them have labs in their homes. One of them actually does all the Emmys, and he's the announcer for the Emmys and all of that stuff. And another one, if you ever heard of Taco Bell, McDonald's, or any other kind of commercial like that, he's the voice guy. And other guy does a lot of stuff, cinematic and all that kind of stuff too.
Very dope.
So do they typically? Because I know they split their time. These couple guys, they split their time. They may be in their own studio, or they may end up driving to Hollywood somewhere to do something or another. So do you find that the talent typically comes in to do the work that they need to do, or are you typically working remotely with those guys?
Oh, no. I mean, before COVID, like everybody would come into the studio. We all go to
this is a different time, right?
Yeah, no, it's a different time. So like we would you know, like I said, we're both at the ADR stage and the motion capture stage, and then I'm back at HQ managing post production and all that stuff too. Okay. So it's really about making sure that we're telling the right story, and that we're honoring the characters that were written. And my job is to be the centralized centralized understanding of the entire narrative, right?
Okay.
I'm there for every aspect of all of the dialogue. So I'm there for when we're capturing the performances on stage. I'm there for the other aspects of dialogue when we're at the ADR stage, and then I'm there during post-production, making sure that like, oh yeah, no, the character wouldn't say this and blah blah blah, as well as directing some of the material as well, or co-directing some of the sessions. And it's really I love it, man. It's one of the greatest challenges in my career. It's a dream job for me because this was the studio I said I had to work at, you know, and I'm very lucky that it's the second studio that I've ever been at in the game industry, and I've been doing it for over 10 years. So and to be the head of the department is a privilege. I got some amazing people that I work with.
Really dope, man. Congrats on that. I mean, that's a huge accomplishment. And I mean, you know, the one thing that I love about that, what you're saying is, you know, I've spoken at some universities remotely, but still speak to some classes. And, you know, people don't know what the other things are that they could do when they have talent or when they have interest in all of the things that you're sitting in front of right now. You know what I mean? Yeah. People don't realize that there's all of these different things that they've probably never heard of. So it's dope to have you here talking about that stuff, because maybe it'll shed light to some people that are not in California, that aren't exposed to those kinds of things. That you know what I mean? Like coming from Chicago, which is where I'm originally from.
Okay, shout out. What up? What up?
Yeah, no doubt. From the west side of Chicago, man. And I went to Columbia College, Chicago, which is kind of like Fame, the college.
Yeah, you went to art school?
Yeah, well, I was in the music production major.
Swanberger from Solillaquists of Sound, if I'm not mistaken, I think his family's from the west side of Chicago, and he also went to Columbia.
Yeah, man. Columbia was like, if you were any kind of artsy kid in Chicago, you had to be there. It was just kind of like, that's just what it was. So, and you know, there I kind of learned about like, oh, people are doing voiceovers, and like people can actually get degrees in piano and music production and interior design and all of this stuff. Like, it's crazy. But
exposure, man.
Like until I moved out here, I didn't realize just how within reach a lot of those careers are. That you could be in the industry even if you don't want to be in front of the mic and in front of the you know,
camera.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's dope to hear you say that, because I think that's important for cats to know. You know?
Yeah, especially for
out there.
Especially for, you know, for African American kids. You know what I'm saying? Like the youth, like black children don't actually know what their options are. Maybe it's more so now because we've progressed as a society, but still it's not fully fleshed out. And and there's aspects to every industry that people don't really know, like, oh, that's a job.
That's a job.
Got paid. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh shit. I can get paid for this. This is a hobby of mine.
Yeah, I just do this. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know you could get paid. Yeah, well, you had someone.
If I'm not mistaken, I heard about like some genetic genealogist, something when it comes to like crime labs and stuff like that. This lady was a hobbyist, and I think they were like, "Yo, you're really good at this. You want to come work for us?" And apparently, she's like top of their industry. You know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
Because so if you like doing some crazy shit on Pinterest, there's a job.
There's a job for that, right?
Like you just keep looking at like how to grow plants on Pinterest and just like blah blah. There's a job for that. You know what I'm saying?
For that. No doubt.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's, you know, that people need to know what it's a matter of access, visibility, and exposure. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of heads don't have the access or the exposure, and that's what this is for. This actually gives us a platform to channel that out, to throw out the bat signal. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Thundercat signal. You know what I'm saying? Just like, yo, boom, we out here. You know what I'm saying? That's why we say that shit, man. We out here, bro.
We out here. So I want to talk to you. I love that background story, and I think it's super inspiring just in general to kind of hear you talk about your journey and the time you spent in the Lauryn Hill camp and all of that. And so I want to kind of transition just in a little bit. How did you like the filmmaker thing? Okay, because now you're doing like game audio in the gaming industry, but where's the filmmaker in you fit in? How'd that come about, and what are you doing with that?
With the advent of the DSLR technology that everybody, that's just a standard, it's normal life now. But when that stuff started to come out, that's when I was like, oh, I could do this now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't think that I could do it before. And I remember like Wiz from Psyche Origami, he came to me when we were mixing his record. He had a solo album. He came down and he was telling me like, yo, man, I'm gonna go to film school. I was like, what? I was like, yeah, that's interesting. I was like, I have an interest in it, but like, what turned me off about it was just like, I gotta go eat shit in some other industry now and start all over. And not only that, like everything's so expensive. How am I gonna make my own film or whatever the fuck? And then like a year or two later, these cameras start coming out. I was just like, let me try this real quick. So I got a camera and I basically said to Solillaquists, I was like, hey, y'all want to help me like test this camera out? I'll shoot a video. I don't know what's gonna come of it. And bless them, man. They were just the homies. They were just riding with me. They had no idea what I was doing. They did everything I asked. Right. They did everything I asked, and they were just like, okay, like I started shooting stuff and blah blah. Then when I cut it together, which is the Marvel video, that's the first video I actually directed. If you look up Solillaquists of Sound Marvel, you'll see it in my playlist directed by X144 on Under Beats Rhymes Films. And you'll see my very first video. And when I showed it to them, they were like, what the fuck is this? You know what I'm saying? I was like, yeah, this is what I had in mind the whole time. I hope you like it. And I'm just sitting there biting my nails on the other side of the conversation. And they were just like, what the fuck is this, man? Where the fuck did you get this skill from? I was just like, I don't know. It's like making music, but for my eyes, not my ears. You know what I'm saying? And so it just kind of turned into, from that video to then, like, we actually did more of a bigger orchestrated production with Gotham City Chase Scene, which is another video that I wrote and directed. And Davinci actually stepped up as producer. So like we had way more people, a much larger cast, and it was all narrative based storytelling. And it was like me trying to pick up the pieces of this ambiguous story that I had. I had this whole storyline from Marvel, and it was like all this stuff based upon like different type of artists, different type of people, being in oppressed situations and stuff like that. Because their album concept was called No More Heroes. So it's about them finding their inner hero. None of the other storylines really made sense, really worked for me once we were in the, when I was editing everything. Yeah. And I was like, there was this one storyline that was like really interesting. It was the person I had the most time with too, which was my homie Jeff Mike, and my brother Jay Craws, both hip hop artists as well. They're both the actors for this one storyline. And sorry, I just accidentally muted my mic. And I didn't think Spacebar did that, but thanks. We stuck with that storyline, and I needed to basically conjure up a sequel. And that was the challenging part. It's a sequel part prequel, basically what Gotham City Chase Scene is. And it borrows from a lot of different concepts or whatnot, being a second time filmmaker in this. And it's about basically it was leaning into the album concept of like almost kind of like Watchmen meets sort of the Matrix meets some sort of like Winter Soldier government theory, even though Winter Soldier wasn't really out then. But basically, it's the concept behind it is that Solillaquists of Sound are the last four heroes. And there's this agency that has been hired to eliminate all heroes, kind of like X-Men also, if you think about that. But there's these people who have they have recruited people with special abilities to hunt and track the other people with abilities and whatnot. And Solillaquists all have special abilities, all different, right? And it's hinted at, you know what I'm saying? Like Alex has like a siren ability, you know, with her voice because she's the vocalist or whatnot. Swamp has like brute strength, and you'll see that like as he's like gathered up on by like a bunch of agents, and then he kind of explodes out of it. Davinci's just like he's just lethal, you know what I'm saying? Lethal in combat. And Tanya is almost like a visionary telepath, you know what I'm saying? So she communicates with the team from different realms or whatnot. At least this is my concept of it. Right? So basically, agency doesn't really have that many people left. It's just mostly regular people, trained agents, and then they have one person who is the leader of this hit squad who has special abilities. And that's played by Jeff Mike, and he was in the previous video, right? And then what happens?
Like the concept seems so in depth, but does it, like, how tough is it for you to wrangle all those ideas into like a however long minute video, like a video, it's a music video, right? So 5 minutes or so. How tough is it?
We actually added that
ideas in there.
We added like an extended piece for like
dope.
Epic
actually, I couldn't say all those ideas. There's concepts there, but it's just one dope idea, and you've put together a really dope concept for this whole thing, and like to be able to wrangle that idea into a cohesive, you know, video, even with some extension on either end, it's pretty dope. Is that tough to bring that all together like that?
Man, it is the most stressful shit in the world, bro. This is my philosophy as a director. Yeah. When you're on set, your only job is to prevent the ship from sinking.
Yeah. Right.
And in that, with that said, the moment you step on set, the ship is already starting to sink. So there's a bunch of holes that you got to prevent it from sinking. It's not prevent it from getting damaged so it doesn't sink. No. It's a damaged boat, and you have to prevent it from sinking. And that's how I feel directing is. And a lot of stuff could be written on paper. A lot of stuff could be really planned. The moment I'm on set, I start changing things right away. It's kind of like you hear about that, like with certain directors, like Tarantino's like infamous for this. He'll be on set and he'll just like run off to the side and start rewriting the entire scene and say, all right, we're doing this instead. And the actor's like, all right, let's go. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so it's kind of like that. And if you watch the narrative, you'll see, I mean, you watch the video, you'll get like the full round trip as to how it's done. And the cool thing about it was the execution, was the form factor. Before anybody was doing comic book style interstitch cutting and stuff like that, I had only really seen it once prominently in like Ang Lee's Hulk. You know what I'm saying? That's the one time when he had like the multiple shots happening at once. The way I did it is probably kind of like what became the more popular style that was adopted from in other films and other projects that I've seen commercially. But nobody had seen that before, and I was heavily into reading comics at that time on the Marvel app on the iOS. And if you guys are into comics, watch that shit on, or read that shit on an iPad or iPhone, because it animates the frame, right? Like zoop, zip, 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 zip. That's basically what inspired the editing style for that video.
Dope.
Yeah. So like most heads don't edit, like you edit videos in like, you know, Premiere, right? I cut that entire video in After Effects.
What?
The whole thing is in After Effects.
That's crazy, bro.
So it took a month. It took a month for me to cut all that in After Effects. And mind you, I don't have like any training in After Effects. That project was me learning After Effects.
Right.
And I was just like,
you had all the motivation you needed. You're like, I want it done like this. Yeah. I know I'm gonna have to do it. There it is.
Yeah. And I thought it was just gonna be certain segments, and I was like, nope. The whole fucking thing got to be like this now. Oh well, you know what I'm saying? And it was such a great experience, man. I couldn't have done it without everybody who was there. Like the entire community came together to be a part of the video. Yeah. So there's a bunch of like Ozone like stars in this shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. Sorry, my wife just texted me. I was like, what? I gotta stop and read those. Yeah. Yeah, man, it was a community effort to make that video happen. I met my lighting director, Ed Jensen, on that project, and we went on to do the Midaz video for Alchemist. Actually, it's really the Alchemist video featuring Midaz. Okay. And what's crazy, it was like I was on the road with Lauryn, and my man's Sean Dammit, he hit me up. We were out having dinner, and it was the night before I was gonna fly out to Moscow.
Okay.
And he was like, "Hey man, there's a song that Midaz got on this Alchemist record. It was for Russian Roulette." Okay. And he was like, "Al said it was all good to do a video. Do you want to do it?" I was just like, asking questions about it. I was like, all right, cool, I'll think about it. And then like he hits me up on the way home. He's like, "Yo, you have to do this. The name of the album is Russian Roulette. All the beats have Russian samples. You're flying to Moscow."
Yeah, like, yeah. That was written for you. That was written in the stars right there. Yeah.
All right, count me in. So I went out. I went to Moscow, and then like as soon as I landed, I got to the hotel, got out, started walking around, just getting B-roll. So all the B-roll was from like all my free time in Moscow, around work. You know what I'm saying? And that's why all that B-roll is authentic. So if you watch the Alchemist video, it's called Don Seymour's theme featuring Midaz. All of the B-roll is me in Moscow, like almost getting like hemmed up by the police because I was like filming certain buildings. Like, "What you out here with this camera?" And they followed me, bro. They like walked with me, like, "We will escort you and let you know what you can or cannot film."
Wow.
I was like, okay, cool, but like I want to be respectful, so like I'm gonna start doing stuff. Just let me know if my lens is in the direction of something that you're not with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they were cool about it, but like, man, I really thought,
cool. That's dope.
I was just like, black man in Moscow about to get hemmed up, bro. Just like, I was like, it's all right.
Cool, man, for real, because I mean, anything could happen. You'd be like, I don't know. He said he went to Moscow. We don't know.
We don't know. Apparently, they said that there were like threats for that one particular building I happened to aim my camera at.
Wow.
And I was like, that building, I don't even think that shot actually made it in the video, but still.
No doubt.
Bam.
So, we only got, this has been a good conversation, man, but I'd be remiss if we got out of here without talking about what you're doing on Twitch. So as I can see from your banner, X144 live on Twitch. Tell us about what you're doing on Twitch, because I think it's a real dope thing you're doing. And just tell us about it.
I appreciate that, man. So what I'm doing now, this is actually one of the camera shot you see right now is that sort of a part of the channel or whatnot. Okay. What I started doing is that every Saturday I bring on an established artist, and I mix a record or master a few records for them live on Twitch, so that the community gets to see what it's like to be in the lab with a professional engineer and producer working with another producer or another artist. And I basically, it's a master class of sorts. And I talk about certain techniques. I break things down. You get to see me and the artist kind of hash out certain concepts and ideas and stuff like that. You get to see us disagree. You get to see the real workings of a real track that will then will eventually be released, right? Yeah. So the thing that I'm hype on, which is what really motivated the channel for me, is that I remember coming up, and it's funny how this kind of came back full circle. One of the members of NITE was a homie called Nevis. It was 7 backwards, right? We called him Nevis. And he was actually from Jersey, and he was down with the Book of Basement.
Okay.
Shout out to Nevis. You probably never find him, so I don't mean to blow up your spot. Somebody gave him a copy of Fuji La.
Okay.
Before it came out. like a year and a half before it came out.
Wow.
And it was a fucked up cassette copy, and we all listened to it, and it was the most mind-blowing experience of my life at that time because it was an unmastered mix. In fact, it was like a mix in progress. It didn't sound 100% like the original song. And you know, I studied the shit out of it, and ever since then, like every record that I always loved and admired, I wish that like I had access to the unmastered mix, because I wanted to get better at that. I wanted our songs to sound like them, so that when we send it to a mastering engineer that knows what he's doing, then our shit just sounds like a, you know, commercially released record.
Hell yeah.
So what I'm doing on the channel, along with the artist, is that after the session's done, that upcoming week, usually within a few days, I upload the unmastered mix for purchase, and the proceeds go to supporting the channel and the artist. So it's the first time that material will be available anywhere in the industry where you actually get an unmastered mix that you get to study in your environment in high resolution. You know what I'm saying? And you know, really it's something that you really get the most learning out of, because you don't know what when a record's mastered, and depending on the mastering engineer, depending on the direction, you never know what the original record sounds like. You don't know, like, how do I actually get my drums to snap? In context of the mix, like, how do they get that done? I mean, music is hammered now. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're trying to, heads are still mastering at -9 LUFS. You know what I'm saying? For heads who don't know, that's just CD quality, and that's just loud. You know what I'm saying? So you might not know where everything in the mix is sitting, and what the separation was like, and what how much EQ to apply, how much low end is in a finalized mix. You know what I'm saying?
I think more people than not just don't know that stuff. Right. You know what I mean? Like the access to music equipment is the gift and the curse for a lot of folks. For the industry, I think it's the gift because it gives so many people the access. And you know, I heard Will Smith say, "Yo, we don't know if we had a Tiger Woods in our neighborhood because we didn't have access to golf clubs." You know what I'm saying? It
goes back to what we were saying before. Like, heads don't know what they can do. We don't know. We don't know.
Right? So, but the curse of it is that you get a lot of stuff, and some people are really good at teaching themselves and being astute and figuring things out. But some people never get there. And every, you know what? Everything, I always say this phrase, everything ain't everything. That's not, no pun intended on everything is everything by Lauryn Hill, but I'm saying, like, you know, everybody wants everything to be everything. Everybody wants Machine to be like MPC, wants MPC to be like Push, you know what I'm saying? And all this kind of stuff. And then too, every artist ain't necessarily meant to be the producer and the engineer, and every engineer, you know what I mean? Vice versa. There's some people that can do all of it and do some of it, but you know, a lot of times you have dope artists that are meant to concentrate on their dope art, and then later they find out, oh, I got to bring somebody that's just as cold in their craft on engineering or mastering it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's you know what I'm saying? Like that. This is like all my entire skill set is an acquired journey.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's not something that happened overnight. It definitely was based off of interest. It was based off of necessity. Like the only reason why I started making beats is because we didn't have beats.
Word. That's it.
I didn't aspire to be a producer at all. I actually I just wanted to be a DJ.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to do when I was a kid. And I was like, I just want to be a DJ and a b-boy. That's all I wanted to do, right?
That's it.
And then I started rapping, and I just wanted to be a rapper. And then once we had the crew, it was just like, you know, we were buying beats here and there, and it's just like, nah, everything is based off of necessity. That's usually how it is.
I get it.
I mean, that's hip hop.
I'm an MC by nature. That's what my first sword is, the MC.
Right.
And you know, was with a group. The group didn't. You know, it was years. We was doing things on the Chicago hip hop scene, doing shows, opening for lots of people, recording a lot of music in a lot of very fancy and not so fancy places at the same time. And at some point, I didn't really have the access to the kind of beats that I wanted. And so at some point, I eventually had to go start making my own beats that are traipsing around the city all over the place, trying to get people on my vibe or trying to catch their vibe or whatever it is. And two, it's different when you're used to working with a crew that you kind of grew up with. But then when life starts to happen, you start venturing out and doing other things with other people, the chemistry ain't always there. And so I started making beats out of that sort of necessity. Like, I know what I want. I know what we used to do. I'm going to just do it. You know what I'm saying? And that's the way all that stuff kind of happens. So I get it.
Just even like, I learned how to make my own flyers because I need flyers made. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I need. I'm going to have to do it.
I learned After Effects because I needed After Effects, compositing done for my record. You know what I'm saying? Or not my record, for my videos. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Everything I learned was like, it's like, it was all to facilitate my art. You know what I'm saying? And then like, I now have the privilege of working on other people's stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because of it, because I've become an expert at it. Right. Yeah. And that it's a journey. You know what I'm saying? So like, what I want to do is like, on Twitch, the whole point is to give back on X144 Live. And I do pop-up streams as well. I just started doing them for beat critiques. Where people like submit beats, I listen to them, I play them live, and I give them honest feedback. And I even ask them like, "Hey, is there something that you want me to specifically focus on while I'm listening to it?" And they're like, "Yeah, I'm concerned about the mix. What do I do with the drums?" Right. Just in general, just give me general feedback. I give them all the feedback, but I make sure that I touch on those points for them. Or whatnot.
That's the value add to it.
And that's just me being able to hang with the audience, because these sessions on Saturday, so it's every Saturday, 3 to 7 Pacific Standard Time, and 6 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So this tomorrow is going to be my guest is Sawyer's Real. He's also a streamer on Twitch. He has a beat making channel, and he's a phenomenal human being, and also from Orlando. I'm basically just calling all my friends like, "Hey, you want to come and hang while we make a record?" You know what I mean? And it ends up being a really good experience. I think it's at least the feedback has been really, really positive. Vanderslice is the homie. I be on his channel. He's also streaming on there. He comes and joins every so often, and it's really about just giving back. And then all of I'm working on some special things for my subscribers. And shout out to Brian for following. I saw that he gave me a follow. Appreciate you, fam. For my subs specifically, I'm an endorsed artist by many professional audio brands in the industry. So I'm sort of for some even an ambassador in some respects. But what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be bringing specific discounts for my subs. You know what I'm saying? So they'll be able to take advantage of the stuff that that I actually use and that I co-sign. You know what I'm saying? So like it's not just stuff willy-nilly. And they gotta earn it. They gotta use what I call studio coins. That's the currency that's earned on the channel just by watching. You know what I'm saying? And watching and participating, a lot of the interactivity in the channel is a major factor of like how you earn the coins. So you can't just subscribe and then just get a discount. You gotta subscribe and you gotta be down. You gotta be a part of the community.
There's engagement there.
Tons of engagement. And
a little bit too, but don't want to cut you off. But I want to also talk about when you say you're an endorsed artist. Like, talk about a couple of the brands that endorse you, because we should.
Shout out to Amphion Loudspeakers. I'm an endorsed artist by them. I've been with them for a really long time. I actually directed it's actually in that playlist as well. I actually directed their Meet Amphion videos. Their basically their introduction to the world or whatnot. And me and the founder Ansi and their research and development manager Martin, we're old friends or whatnot. Been really good friends since. Also Locomotive Audio, Ortiz as well. These beautiful babies right here. You know what I'm saying? Let me looking at my desk right now. Just Phoenix Audio.
Phoenix is dope.
And shout out to West Audio. A special
West
shout out
Audio
to them.
Is really dope.
Man, they're incredible.
I'm trying to avoid going down the West Audio route with the 500 series, man, just because like I should have guessed you would say that.
Don't avoid it. But I'll keep it 100 with you because you know I've been following you for a minute. You know what I'm saying? And for those who don't know, me and him actually connected way back in the day because of hold on, let me bring out my shit, man. Bring out these custom wooden knobs. Shout out to you, man. Like boom, I put them on my.
That's right. That's right. Right.
I wouldn't have found. I found him on Etsy, by the way. Yeah. He's still alive. He's still doing his thing. So we connected. He actually did that on his machine, and those knobs were originally on my machine. But knowing you and the stuff that you're into, that if you were to get into like get some outboard gear, West Audio is the path for you, man, because all of that recallability. So West Audio, for those who don't know, it's 500 series format. They also make rack gear, but it's 500 series format. You can't see it. It's right, like this one module is the one that you can see, but basically look them up. West Audio, WES Audio. It's basically 500 series analog compressors, EQ, full analog path that are digitally controlled with a plugin. And the way they do it, especially in their chassis called the Titan, all I do is plug one Ethernet cable into my system, and then every module is controlled and recallable.
That's crazy.
The whole shit is recallable.
That's wild.
And I dare say that their Dione and all of the modules are named after moons of what is it? Which planet has all the moons? Uranus, Neptune, Saturn. Moons of Saturn. Moons of Saturn. All of their joints are named after a moon from Saturn, right? And basically, like their Dione compressor is kind of like their SSL bus compressor, but it goes for a third of the price. And honestly, I think it's better.
Yeah, wow.
I think it sounds twice as good as a proper VCA. You know what I'm saying? Like a quad VCA, I believe. They just do a lot of really cool stuff engineering wise. They're really, really thorough. Shout out to my guys over at West Audio. They've been a great support. And yeah, you'll see a video of that on my channel as well. So follow me at Beats Rhymes Film. Give me a follow and a sub at X144 Live on Twitch. Everywhere else, Twitter, Instagram is just at X144. And follow my group on Spotify and all your favorite like music channels. Almost Nothing. Shout out to my man Elias the Addict. So basically, it's the I produce. Yeah, I produce. I'm the producer, and he's the vocalist and rapper. You know what I'm saying? And MC. And that we just dropped a single. We have another one coming up in a couple weeks. So we've been dropping a single a month leading up to the album that's going to come out next month. So look out for that.
That's the way to get that. Yeah, word up, man. I want to thank you for coming on the show. I'm glad we got a chance to finally do this. And yeah, bro, this has been good. I'm glad we got a chance to chat it up. And I'm looking forward to checking out your Twitch channel too.
Yeah, man. I mean, you're gonna be on it, so
That's right. I'm looking forward to being on it.
y'all check it out, man. We're looking in. We're gonna have Corey on in November. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be super fun. We're gonna I know you're gonna send over some fire for me to mix.
Word, man. I got some stuff I'm interested to see kind of how it comes together. I think that's a anybody that has ever watched me knows I'm about the community and the beat maker community and the audio community. So this kind of plays into that, to be able to have people be a part of that sort of process. I think it's dope. So I can't wait for it, man. But yeah, that's what it is. Thank you for coming on, man. And I want to thank all the people that's out there checking this out. Synthetic, Why Not, Benjamin, and so forth and so on. If I forgot you, I didn't mean to get you, but everybody, thanks for coming through, and we'll do this again soon. All right. So let's take it out. I think I'm supposed to do something like really official, like this.